Hello and welcome. Good afternoon to you. Today is Monday, the 28th of September, and I say that because the dates are so important to us here in Victoria today. And here we are today, coming to you live, both on Facebook and on YouTube, to talk to one of our favourite professional service providers that we have on site at Eastern Innovation. So before I go any further, I want to introduce myself. I'm Danielle Storey. Most of you know me. I'm the CEO of this incredible innovation centre out in Melbourne's south east. We have some terrific innovation startups. We have amazing professional service providers that support them. And one of those professional service providers has been helping all of our community with their accounting needs, specifically accounting needs based around the urgency that happens at the moment in COVID time, and also around the things that they need to do as innovative businesses, small businesses, micro businesses, medium businesses, and large businesses. He has been worked into the ground. I want to introduce to you Amit Aggarwal from SAPTAX. Amit, welcome to the presentation. How are you?
Thanks, Danielle. I'm good, thank you. How are you traveling?
Yeah, look, we're all working from home. We're all in our home offices, and I just know that we're all really keen to be going back to the office soon. And welcome to everybody that's listening to us. Hey, in Australia, we've got some new rules around JobKeeper, and I know some people were a little bit confused. And you've offered to come on here now live and also be recorded to help people understand JobKeeper 2.0. Some people are calling it JobKeeper 2.1 even. I'm really grateful to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
What are your clients telling you?
So it's 2.0, 2.1, and I'm assuming there will be more versions coming out of it as we go along. But as of now, JobKeeper 2.0, which is the original version, has become a law and is applicable from that point of view. I think from the way this whole thing has worked out, the biggest challenge is to understand the timelines and what is applicable for when. Let's look at how this whole JobKeeper phenomena has transpired in our life, so to called. The original legislation came into effect as of 12th of March 2020, and it covered period from 30th of March to 27th of September, which is ending now. Now, since the economy is still struggling, the government has extended it to another 6 months, which is 28th of March. However, there are few things that you need to understand what has happened. When originally JobKeeper came into existence, there was once you have to prove your eligibility, and then you are in for next 6 months or whatever period is left. However, that's not the case with the current environment. Now you need to prove eligibility for October to December quarter and Jan to March quarter from that point of view.
So we really need to reapply for it. Is that basically what you're saying?
That's correct. You need to, even though the core basic eligibility test hasn't changed to a certain degree, the fundamental of the test is you still need to have 30% drop in your revenue to be eligible. That still remains the same, but there have been few. Initially, when it was applied, it was either month by month comparison or quarter by quarter comparison, or even you were allowed to use forecast for the quarters as well. However, that's changed, and I'll talk you through as we go along into that.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. So have people that were not possibly eligible last time, can they apply now? Or if they had employees that weren't eligible last time, can they employ now? Can they apply now?
Yes, there are few new eligibility criteria that have come through. So the employees that have been hired between 1st March and 1st July would be eligible. Now, these are permanent, full-time or part-time employees we're talking about. Casuals still have to prove their eligibility, be employed for 12 months plus. This is as of 1st of July. If your employee is if a casual employee is employed for 12 months or more, they are eligible. And any employees who were aged between 17 prior, they are eligible as well because they have turned 18. If they have turned 18, they are eligible as well. The other class that were excluded previously, the people who were not residents in Australia, have become residents, they are eligible as well. Now, for existing ones, the eligibility still remains the same.
That's great. That's great news for companies who get a chance to be able to use that stimulus. What's the payment rate? I mean, we've all heard that there was discussion around what the payment rate should be, and I think we've all got a handle on that now. But that'd be great if you could highlight that.
Yeah. So initially it was a flat rate of $1,500 per fortnight per employee who is eligible. However, now there is two-tiered system where for 28th of September to 3rd of Jan, if you are working more than 80 hours per fortnight, you will get $1,200. I'm sorry. You will get $1,200. If you are working less than 80 hours per fortnight, then you will get $750. Sorry, no, per month. It's 29 days, basically a month, roughly, give or take. 80 hours per month, basically. So which is 20 hours or more per week, you are eligible to claim that per employee. And if not, you will be, then if the staff is working less than 20 hours per week, they are eligible to get $750. Now comes Jan to March period, those payments will drop from $1,200 to $1,000 and from $750 to $650. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we hope we're all anticipating by the time we get to that we'll all be generating revenue again, which will, and then it'll just become a supplement rather than something fun.
Exactly is the government's notion. They are trying to, that hard lending, they are trying to create a buffer and soften it as much as they can. And as the journey goes along, the dollar value is coming down. And the other aspect of it is they are hoping that more businesses would generate higher revenue and they will be knocked off this list.
That's what we're all hoping for. I suspect in Australia, and particularly in Melbourne and Victoria, we're going to end up all working through January and December and January, what we used to call the public holiday of Christmas. I imagine we'll all be working really hard to get ourselves back on track. So what are the eligibility criteria for 2.0 qualifications, Amit?
So initially, like I said to you before, the turnover test was very, very open in that sense that you could compare July month to June month, July to July for 2020 and 2019. And if your turnover has dropped by 30% or more, you're eligible. Same thing, it could be done for quarters, it could be done by forecasts as well. That was all acceptable as in March when we originally started with the JobKeeper. However, now the government is tightening around those legislations and they're saying you would only be eligible for JobKeeper if you qualify, if your revenue has dropped by 30% or more. This is purely for businesses I'm talking about. If your revenue has dropped 30% or more, comparison period is quarter by quarter. I'll show you with an example, which is on next page here. So let's assume in your June quarter, FY19, your turnover was 250, FY20, 100K, your drop is 60%, you are eligible, clearly. But this is the period we need to look at, which is more now effective now. So if your turnover in 2019 was 350K for September quarter, which is July, August, September, in FY20, if it has dropped by 30% or more, you qualify for October to December quarter only. That's the difference between previous qualification criteria and now. So you will only qualify for the next quarter based on your performance for July to September quarter And then if we look at December quarter, I've done this example where the drop in revenue is only 19%. You do not qualify for JobKeeper for Jan to March. So people have to keep an eye on these numbers to make sure if they are not qualified, they shouldn't be paying their staff JobKeeper rate if they're paying additional income to the employees for that reason.
Yeah, that's great advice for anybody who's currently paying JobKeeper. And I know, Amit, we're very careful here. We say that this is general advice only. It's not, and really, should anybody have any questions about their personal circumstances, their personal company circumstances, that they should be reaching out to you directly in a professional relationship or in a professional engagement so that you can give them professional advice, because this information is just the general information that's been released by the tax office.
Absolutely. And this information, not specifically this page, or the information that ATO or the Treasury has been releasing on the go, they have been adding a lot of stuff to it on the go. And it is, I wouldn't advise anyone to just rely on this and make their judgment. You are better off talking to me in person. We go through, evaluate your personal situation, and then make a judgment call on that.
And it's certainly so good for your heart and mind to be actually talking about your own numbers and your own figures, and to understand that if there's an opportunity to petition the ATO, because there are some alternative rules and things, aren't there? I mean, what happens if someone has less than 12 months of trading history, for example?
Yeah. So this is where your alternate, there is, so the up until now, what I was talking to you about was a basic test. Then there is alternative tests. There's still alternative tests available for businesses that have commenced within last 12 months. The businesses who have acquired, disposed, or restructured their business, their turnover has increased substantially due to certain reasons, or there is irregular turnover during the year, which could be, there could be businesses who are very seasonal in nature. For those businesses, alternative tests are available, and they are not very straightforward to apply. So I strongly suggest you talk to a professional and get it sorted. And the biggest challenge in this whole thing is to document it. I have had clients who, this is going back in March, April, who were forecasting their revenue to go zero, but for some reason, they have been able to retain or gain more money. Then it all comes down to your documentation as and when the events were happening.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, I have heard, for example, and you're the professional here, I'm not, but things such as there have been some very generous councils out there that have offered grants to small businesses, and my understanding is that grants may be excluded from this, so that may not be included in the turnover. So it's really, really important that you're talking to a professional that can either go into bat for you with ATO or guide you how to do that.
Yeah. So you're spot on, Danielle, in that sense. Victorian government as such, as we know, has rolled out number of grants in that sense. And same thing, the federal government has issued funds in terms of boosters, initial payments. We need to really understand what is taxable, what is not taxable, what has to be included, what hasn't, what can be excluded or should be excluded. Now, one class of people who were initially excluded from this whole thing was individuals, sole traders or sole directors, partners of partnership. Now, for them, initially government rolled out business participant eligibility criteria. There hasn't been any change in that criteria. The people who were eligible before will continue to maintain eligibility as long as the business turnover rule applies, as long as they have managed to maintain at 30%. If their revenue has dropped by 30%, they are still continuing to, they will still be eligible to get JobKeeper. Now, the people, these are the additional criterias for individuals who are applying for business participant JobKeeper. They cannot be part of a not-for-profit business. Individuals is the only nominated business participant, so there can be only one nominated participant from each business. I know there were people who are in partnership who have multiple directors in small businesses. Unfortunately, the way this has been structured, only one person is eligible to get that, and that still remains the case. Nothing has changed. No other entity is entitled to JobKeeper payment for that individual. So I, as a director for multiple entities, cannot claim JobKeeper for myself on 3 different entities. Only one entity can apply for it. Right? And sorry?
That sounds pretty fair to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And there, like I said, their eligibility criteria hasn't changed at all in terms of if they were eligible as of 12th of March, that still remains the case. They do not need to prove that again, as long as they still meet that 30% drop in revenue criteria. And of course, their ABIN has to be registered as of 12th of March, 2020. There are no further timelines to it in that sense. Now, this is very, very rough, basic rundown of what JobKeeper looks like as of now. Now, I might open the floor for any questions if somebody has posted any questions at all.
Yeah, well, look, I'll just nick over to Facebook and have a quick look at that. I mean, thank you. We're incredibly grateful for the work that you do for us with our community about it. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you on site, back in your office, back in those beautiful, light, open, airy offices. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that sometime before Christmas.
Yeah.
And I know you get a lot of people that just knock on the door and ask you questions about the stuff, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
How do people get in? We saw your contact details there. Which way do you prefer for them to get in touch with you?
Look, I think whatever is convenient for anyone. Phone, my mobile number is on there. My email is there. My website is there. Reach out to me whatever way you want to, because it's challenging to have all these questions and not able to get those answers is very, very difficult. Yeah. And I can totally understand the frustration a lot of people are going through at the moment, just to get their head around what's going on, how do they manage it. It takes us, I mean, even just to analyze JobKeeper 2.0, I would have spent more than 10 to 15 hours on it, just to get my head around
documentation. Yeah. I know from my perspective, the comfort of being able to share screen on our Xero screen, just being able to open it up and saying, well, where do I get that information from? What does it look like? Is it my profit and loss report? Is it my cash report? Is it is it my BAS report? So just that comfort of being able to work on my own numbers and then know, because of course, I mean, we just had a question through a second ago. Where do we go to submit this? Is it the same portal we went to last time when we were claiming JobKeeper?
So the process behind it is it's exactly the same as you followed in March. If you engaged with the professionals, reach out to them and they will be able to do it for you. If you haven't, then there are forms available. I'm happy to share the link or pass it on to you. If you can share your email address, I'll send it through to you. Those forms and the process that has to be followed subsequently. Obviously, you need to make sure that eligibility is there for the business, for the employees, and then the employee declaration forms has to be filled in and saved, and make sure you document it in timely manner, because timing of everything is very important in this whole scheme of things.
Yeah,
your Xero can give. Sorry.
Go on. No, I said Karen just made a comment. Someone just made a comment there. Record keeping is very important. Yeah. And we'll just pop that back up if you don't mind. We can just see where to go on the. There we go. It's coming back up on our screen now. It's great. Some more information there. Treasury.gov.au /coronavirus/JobKeeper.
Yeah, so the information is in there. It's just matter of understanding, comprehending, and documenting everything is the critical aspect of this. You know, and if you are using software like Zero Mile or QuickBooks, they have the eligibility to give you these reports as well and guide you whether you are eligible or not, which staff is eligible, which staff is not. So I've done a brief summary here about this whole thing, and I'll keep on amending this document. I will put through the links in there as well. And it's always ever evolving information. We got to understand no two businesses are same. Whilst one could be straightforward, the eligibility could be straightforward. For others, it may not be the case. So for others, we may have to understand what are the basic criteria or the alternate test and apply them diligently in that sense.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks, Amit. Is there any other final points that you'd like to make? Perhaps an encouragement for everybody out there. You can do this.
I think I've been saying this all the way along. In the next 3, 6, 12 months, cash is going to be king. Make sure you spend your money wisely. I'm sure you all are, but it's just a reminder. Just hang in there and spend your money wisely. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Light at the end of the tunnel, and there's amazing experts to help you along through the way. And especially our very own Eastern Innovation, Amit Aggarwal from SAPTAX, who is our on-site professional service provider helping all types of business, and from our perspective, our incredible innovation businesses and the people that support them. So Amit, thanks for coming on live with us today on both Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and it'll be on some other channels as well to explain JobKeeper 2.0. I'm very grateful to you.
Thanks for having us. Thanks, Danielle.
Terrific. And thanks to the team at Alba Prime for making this happen for us, making it so easy. We are Eastern Innovation. We're an incredible hub for innovators and the professional service providers that support them. And you can reach out to us, reach out to Amit, and we can connect you into our community for anything that you need. In the meantime, have a fantastic afternoon. Enjoy the next couple of weeks with our families, and we look forward to seeing you again face to face very soon.